Wake up! It's the Sleep Unplugged podcast, episode 174, Hydration and Sleep. It's in the water. Welcome, everyone, to the Sleep Unplugged podcast. My name is Chris Winter. I'm a neurologist, sleep specialist, and your host for this episode of the podcast. If you're new to the Sleep Unplugged podcast family, welcome. If you're a veteran of the show, welcome back. We are glad you're here. So many things to get to. It's been a very exciting week. If you want to get in touch with the show and tell us what's going on in your life, what questions you have about sleep, reactions you've had to previous episodes, things that should have been or should not have been in the top 10 threats to your sleep for this month, let us know. Dr. Chris Winter Instagram, Dr. Chris Winter Twitter, Dr. Chris Winter Bluesky Threads. We have a dedicated web page to the podcast that's at sleepunplugged.com. We have a dedicated YouTube page where you can actually watch episodes of the podcast. And if you're watching this episode right now, you see I'm sporting the Blue Jays logo because we are excited on the Sleep Unplugged podcast for the Blue Jays. They are playing in game 6 back in Toronto. We are working hard to get them to the World Series. We want to extend a big congratulations and shout out to the Los Angeles Dodgers who won the National League. They will be going back to the World Series to defend their title. I believe this is the 10th World Series since 2010 that a team I work for has made it. And that is very exciting. What has never happened in my career is to have two teams I work for make it to a championship game. So we are really pulling for Toronto. I think they're an amazing organization. I love the way their staff takes care of the players. I dig their players. I really want to see them face off with LA. And then I can actually watch the World Series because I know teams I've worked for have made it and one of my teams is going to win. I think I could be a lot more relaxed about the situation. So, looking forward to finding out that Toronto won game 6, forces the critical game 7, and does the research I did many, many years ago that says teams on the West Coast traveling east face a disadvantage. Is that true? And if so, can Toronto take advantage? Really excited. The Phoenix Suns, a team that I'm working for, played in China. They won their first game. They almost won their second game. Everybody got back, had a good time, and really excited to follow that organization as well too. Received a big box full of gear from the Oklahoma City Thunder as they prepare to defend their championship. Looking forward to watching how that season unfolds. We have a sponsor this week for the podcast and next week, which I'm really excited about. Our sponsor is Blue Air. They are makers of quality air filtration products. They are out of Sweden. I have actually had a Blue air filter in my private office, which I will show you if you're looking at the YouTube. You can see it right there in the corner of my room. They have unveiled a new set of air filters that have some really cool features. And instead of talking about them all, I'm going to talk about one of the air filters this week, and I'll talk about the other one next week since we're doing a series of sponsorship ads here. And I will post some on my social media so you can actually see the air filter and kind of see it's functioning a little bit better. And again, my social media, Dr. Chris Winter Instagram is where I will post it. That's DrChrisWinter. Follow and subscribe that if you want to, or you can just look on the Instagram, see the cool air filter, and then quickly unsubscribe or unfollow. Perfectly fine too. So I wanted to touch on this air filter, which is about a foot tall, maybe a little bit taller. Fits very nicely on your bedside table. It can be very quiet when it's operating on fan speed number 1 all the way up to fan speed number 3. It's all completely controllable by your phone if you like it to, but it also has a display on the top. What I love about this, a couple things. Number 1, it's got a C type charger plug at its base. So when it sits on your bedside table, if you are being naughty and have your phone plugged up next to your bed, or you have to because you're on call at night, there is a place to plug your phone up since maybe the air filter is actually taking up that charger spot. So I love having that plug there and not behind my dresser or having to look around for it. I love things that are kind of thoughtfully designed that way. It's very beautiful, classic, clean looking design, a small little cylinder. The light sits on top, and the light you can actually control on your phone from 0% or off all the way up to 100%. It has a built-in alarm feature. I have chosen to wake up with a gentle sunrise up to about 50% light. And the noise that it makes, you can choose from a variety. I'm choosing birds, again, to honor the Blue Jays. I'm going to wake up tomorrow with a gentle, light increase in my room. And this happens in the time before the birds start chirping. So tomorrow I've got my alarm clock set for 7, so it's 6:45. That light's going to come on, and over 15 minutes slowly rise to 50%. And then at that time, the little Blue Jays are going to start chirping, alerting me that Toronto dismantled and beat the Seattle Mariners. And I'm going to be really excited and fired up for game seven, having gotten a great night of sleep. So I love that thoughtful, and the light is really nice light. It's not that bright white light, it's that gentle, kind of yellowish light that I find so much more pleasing. It gives you updates about the air quality in your room. It's fantastic. So I really like it. I highly recommend you check out Blue Air. The retail cost is $199. I think this is the perfect gift to give somebody, and we will definitely feature Blue Air products on our 2025 Black Friday gift giving guide that's coming up around the time of Black Friday. We did an episode in the past about air quality and sleep, and I really believe in that. I think that when your house air quality is really clean and comfortable and you're in that kind of environment, I think it definitely helps us sleep better. So Blue Air, and we're going to talk about another one of their new filters next week, which I'm going to give you a little hint, has a built-in humidifier, which is awesome. So we will talk about that. But today we're talking about the mini restful, $199, built-in alarm clock, built-in sunrise alarm, air filtering and monitoring, all controlled by your phone. Very thankful for Blue Air for sponsoring this podcast. And I think it's not an accident. Dodger Blue, Blue Jays, Blue Air. It's gonna happen this World Series. I'm predicting it. I feel it. So our we're gonna skip comments, correction, criticisms. We'll go right to our lyric in the title. It's in the water. That is from Kings of Leon and their song Radioactive that was off of their 2010. I can't believe it's already that album is 2010. It's already 15 years old. Come Around Sundown, which was the follow-up to their 2008 smash Only by the Night, which had Use Somebody and Sex on Fire. But I really liked their fifth album. I thought Come Around Sundown was fantastic. Radioactive is the song, not to be confused with the Firm song Radioactive, Paul Rogers and Jimmy Page, which was I love that album by the Firm, which had that on there. What was the other one? There's another great song there. It'll come to me in a minute. I do want to quickly, and again, the uh, Kings of Leon are three brothers, Caleb, Nathan, and Jared, and their cousin Matthew plays lead guitar. They were sons of Pentecostal preacher, travel around the South, so their music has a heavy sort of Southern, almost religious influence. Speaking of another band that had sort of heavy religious influences, Live had a great song called Go to the Water. Is that right? Was that what it was? Come to the water, go to the water. Anyway, we'll put that song on there as well too. Go to the Water, I think is what it was. Another great song. David Bowie, uh, from his 2003 reality album, Looking for Water. I really tried hard to find a Kiss or Ace Frehley lyric that featured water, but man, did I strike out. There was nothing there. And I really wanted to feature Kiss. I haven't spoken about that group yet, and I will in the future, but very sad to hear the passing of Paul Daniel Frehley, otherwise known as Ace Frehley. This was strangely, I think, my first favorite musical group. I have a picture of me getting ready to attend kindergarten, waiting for the school bus on day one of kindergarten, back in, God, 78. And I'm holding an album, and it's the 1976 Kiss album Rock and Roll Over, which incidentally was the first album not to feature an Ace Frehley written tune. So I think in honor of Ace Frehley, we're going to put on the Spotify music playlist volume 4. We'll do Radioactive by Kings of Leon, Go to the Water by Live. It's Looking for Water by Reality, and we're gonna have to put on an Ace Frehley tune. And the closest I can get to water is Gin when it comes to Kiss. So we'll put on their Cold Gin from their debut album, Kiss 1974, the first song written by Ace Frehley to appear on a Kiss album. And we miss the Space Ace greatly. So let's get into this podcast. I was really interested in talking about hydration and sleep. It's something we kind of throw around a lot. And I wanted to kind of dive into a little bit of the scholarship around that. And we've talked a little bit about this when it came to bedwetting and nocturnal urination and the people telling you, hey, don't drink a lot of water before you go to bed because you'll have to get up and go to the bathroom. And we were talking about athletes earlier. I tell my athletes all the time, oh, drink, drink, drink. It doesn't matter. Drink as much as you want. If you have to wake up to go to the bathroom at night, it's not that big of a deal. Generally, the urge to wake us up doesn't really wreck our sleep. You wake up, you pee, get back in bed. It's not that big of a deal. And I would rather somebody hydrate and wake up once or twice to urinate than not. So I really don't like that, hey, stop drinking fluids at noon because you don't want to have to wake up to go to the bathroom. So why does it matter? So when we drink water, well, let's flip it around. When we're not drinking water, it raises what we call plasma osmolality, which is basically how concentrated your blood is. The plasma is the clear part of your blood. When we think about blood, we kind of divide it into the clear part of your blood, the plasma. We have the red blood cells, and then we have platelets. And that plasma is where the fluid, kind of part of the blood is kind of being carried around. So when we increase plasma osmolality, we make things, more concentrated. We start to do a bunch of things. Number one, we start to increase heart rate. So we're trying to move what there is in our bloodstream around quicker. So dehydration tends to elevate heart rate. It also tends to elevate cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone. So you're lost in the woods, you're not eating, you're not drinking, heart rate's elevated, stress is going up. So stress tends to follow that dehydration. And with this, we're going to activate the sympathetic nervous system. All of these things tend to be sort of enemies when it comes to good quality sleep. We want our heart rate low. We've talked about the natural heart rate drop that happens when we sleep. We want cortisol levels low. We want to be moving towards bed more relaxed, not worried about whether or not the Blue Jays are going to win game 6, right? We want to, and I'll tell you, on that note, some of my strangest, worst nights of sleep have been that kind of thing. Like, oh, will they win game 6? And you stay up until what, 11:30 to find out, and they blow a 2-run lead with a grand slam in the 8th inning, and then they lose. And that stress and that anxiety, like, oh, I really wanted to win game 5 and go back to Toronto, only having to win one of two. Like, I really wanted that to happen. And so going to bed with that stress is an enemy of sleep for sure. Also, when we're dehydrated, our mucous membranes are dry, which is going to most likely increase our likelihood of snoring, which we've talked about in previous episodes, is its own negative when it comes to sleep quality. If you're somebody who's prone to restlessness, in particular leg cramps, dehydration can be a problem there too. So when I talk to patients who are struggling with leg cramps, number one is hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. So we really want to make sure we do those types of things. So those are sort of the physical things that go along in our body with poor hydration. What do we see from a sleep quality perspective? So when you're actually looking at individuals who are dehydrated, what do we typically see? The first thing is we do see a slight reduction in slow wave sleep and increased microarousals. Now, where are the microarousals coming from? It could be the dehydration, the dry mucous membrane. It could be, a little bit more snoring, a little bit more leg movement or leg cramping. So there's a lot of different ways that could be manifesting itself. Animal data suggests that even mild dehydration affects hypothalamic functioning. So when we think about the hypothalamus, that's part of the brainstem that's activating a lot of temperature regulation, how we monitor breathing, and there's a lot of things that go on in our core, in our hypothalamus, and hypothalamic functioning can be affected when we are dehydrated. So not only in terms of maintaining good quality sleep and deep sleep, but sleep initiation as well too. It's never fun. It's hard to go to sleep when you're dehydrated a little bit. So when we improve hydration, do we improve sleep? And the evidence would say that, yeah, we do. Maintaining proper hydration helps us support proper thermoregulation. And we've talked about how temperature affects sleep, how our natural temperature wave has its peak around 4, 6 o'clock in the evening, and then it starts to drop, and then we hit our nadir about an hour before we wake up, and then it rises up again, and how that temperature regulation is extremely important for sleep. Well, dehydration affects our ability to optimize thermoregulation and keep our core temperature at the place where it's supposed to be. Adequate water intake overnight um, can help to minimize breathing disturbances and minimize sleep apnea if you have it. And then, for individuals who are prone to headaches, the sleep apnea could be an independent risk factor for those headaches. When people have sleep apnea, they tend to have more headaches, but even dehydration can cause headaches as well too, which is why we always tell people when they drink alcohol, for every drink you drink, you really need to make sure you're putting that hydration back because that alcohol is dehydrating. It's a it's a diuretic, so we want to be very careful that you're not mistaking those drinks for being adequate hydration. And that's what's so interesting when you actually look at other cultures. They're a little bit in awe. Well, I don't know if in awe is the right word. They're a little bit confused or curious, maybe it's the better word, as to why we as Americans drink so much water. We've got water bottles that we carry around and we leave in movie theaters and gyms all the time. Ever gone to a gym like after you left your water bottle there and you're like, hey, I think I left my water bottle here. And they open up this cabinet and there's like 1,000 water bottles in there. I think that is a uniquely American kind of thing. And what's interesting is, talking about how alcoholic beverages are not really part of your hydration. There are a lot of things that are in other cultures' diets that are in their hydration. In fact, in Europe and Asia, they drink a lot less fluid during the day because their meals rely on soups and broths and teas and hydrating fruits and vegetables. So they're getting a lot of their water through their food rather than just consuming water. I mean, some cultures really find it offensive if you come to their restaurant and they make this great food for you and they say, what would you like to drink? Oh, water, please. Still, at least, get the sparkling to elevate it a little bit. But they look at hydration not as this tool, but something you're going to get naturally, maybe through your diet. And again, proper hydration may help reduce those nighttime awakenings caused by thirst and dry mouth. And if you have a CPAP or you live in a dry climate, this can be really important. And it's interesting, and we're going to talk about this next week as it relates to that Blue air filter. When they said, hey, we want to sponsor some of your podcasts and we're going to send you some of our air filters to try out in addition to the one you already have. They said, we're going to send you this small one, and then we're going to send you another one. It's a little bit bigger, but it's a air filter and a humidifier. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. No. I live in Sarasota, Florida. It is humid, humid, humid here. That is the last thing that I need. In fact, when I got my new air conditioner in my home, they're like, oh, yeah, this air conditioner is so good. It sucks out so much humidity from your home. You're going to feel great. And sure, when you're in a humid environment, a lot of times what you experience as being hot or sticky or uncomfortable has almost more to do with the humidity than it does the temperature. So an air conditioning unit that effectively dehumidifies allows you to feel more comfortable at a higher temperature. Now, that said, sucking air, the humidity out of your living environment, great for temperature and being comfortable when it's hot outside, not so great for your breathing, mucous membranes, etc. during the night. So we'll get into this next week, but another way to sort of make sure outside of hydration that you're getting what you need from your sleep is to make sure that your room is adequately humidified as you sleep in the midst of your air conditioner trying to pull it out. And again, we're going to talk about the amazing automation that this device has for your immediate sleep environment. So let's look at some research. This is what I really wanted to, I think, I was just having a conversation with Michael Gradisar about blue blocking glasses. And he's saying, look, we talk about these things like they are gospel. Are they? Like, what does the research really say about blue blocking glasses? And we'll have to do a whole other podcast about this. But in the meantime, he's done a whole little movie about that. I've got some thoughts about light and blue blocking glasses and whatnot that might be not quite as extreme as that. But I think that we have to, as scientists, always be critically looking at what we're saying, especially in this time of time of history when the scientific method, which is let's declare something, let's study it. To the best of our knowledge, this is a thing, but it doesn't mean that it's settled. We can always look at evidence to try, is it reproducible? Is it, whatever. So I think that, when we look at research about hydration and I tell a patient or an athlete, look, hydrating is going to help you sleep better, is it? And to what degree and how confident are we in this knowledge? This is something that I've always, if you listen to this podcast, you know how I feel that I think if you look at like if you buy a refrigerator, it comes with a little sticker that says it's like energy saver rating. Like, is this going to save me a lot of energy or a little bit of energy? Like, it's energy saver. Okay, but how much? And, for something like hydration and sleep, are we 99% sure that, are we 50% sure, 70, like where are we on the spectrum from I know this to be true and it makes a big difference too? There's a little bit of research about it, but not enough to be sort of overwhelming. And I think that's where we struggle sometimes societally is when we have something where there is overwhelming research and then maybe there's an older study or a newer study that goes against that. Not that we shouldn't pay attention to it, but I don't think that we should give it equal weight as the other 73 studies that have been done that say otherwise. I think that's where sometimes things get lost. Well, we asked 99 former baseball players what they think the secret to being a great pro baseball player is. But we asked Chris Winter, who never played pro baseball, did not play college baseball, played high school baseball, and has worked as a sleep specialist for a few baseball teams. He says, no, 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 ignore those 99 other people. This is what he thinks is most important to be a pro baseball player. Well, sure, I've got an opinion, but who do you believe? Me or the 99 other doctors? So anyway, let's get into some of this interesting research. And I would say there is a fair amount of it out there. It's not overwhelming, but there is enough, I think. And again, Big Water is not going to sponsor a lot of research studies here. So I'm not sure how many more will be to come, but maybe there will be. So the first study that I found was a 2018 study in sleep. Um, there was a cross-sectional study across the United States and Chinese people that found that sleeping fewer than 6 hours, those individuals had a significantly higher urine osmolality, suggesting dehydration. Again, plasma osmolality is high, leads to urine osmolality being high. It's basically saying you have a concentrated urine. Remember, ever pee and you're like, wow, that's like the color of orange Gatorade going on down there in the bowl. Right, because your body is extracting as much of the water, the fluid, out of your urine as it can because you're not drinking enough. So the result becomes a very concentrated urine because your body is saying, we cannot let go of any fluid here because we need it because you're not getting enough. Contrast that with somebody who drinks a ton of fluids, drinking, drinking, drinking. Have you ever gone to the bathroom and you pee and you look down and it's like, did I pee? Because the water is perfectly clear. Right. Because in that situation, you have got a low urine osmolality. You have a very dilute urine. Are there waste products in that fluid that you put into the bowl? Absolutely. But there's also a lot of fluid that your body's saying, hey, look, we've got plenty of fluid floating around in our body. We can get rid of some excess. So when you have that higher urine osmolality or you're a little bit dehydrated, it tends to result in you sleeping for a shorter period of time, which I think is really interesting and flies right in the face of that adage. Oh, you have to wake up to go to the bathroom. Oh, you better cut your fluids off because we certainly don't want you waking up peeing in the night. Oh, no, 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 no. Have at it. Drink, 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 drink. If you have to get up and pee, pee. So anyway, that basically the interpretation here is that a short sleep duration may cause dehydration due to less vasopressin, which is a chemical that regulates that fluid balance in your brain. So it might be actually actively leading to that. So this is something, and again, we love bidirectional relationships in this show. You're not drinking enough fluid, you're dehydrated. That could lead you to sleep fewer hours. Or you're somebody who's not getting enough sleep. That could actually change the way your body handles fluid in and of itself. So, short answer here is to drink fluids, stay hydrated. 2016, a study in the Journal of Applied Physiology and Nutrition showed that both sleep restriction, so it's kind of saying the same thing, and poor hydration independently impair cognitive performance and mood and can affect sleep quality. So once again, we start to spin that web of sleep quality, cognitive performance, what we eat, how we exercise, what we drink, all kind of showing these independent relationships. If you're not getting enough fluid, you could sleep, your sleep quality could be less, your sleep amount could be less. If you're not getting enough water, your cognition could be reduced, your performance could be reduced, your mood could be reduced, right? And then what we're saying is take away the hydration, the sleep independently influences both hydration, performance, mood, sleep. I mean, so they all kind of independently work towards and away from each other, which I find to be so interesting. Tromlin in 2020 in the European Journal of Sports Science said in athletes, even a 1 to 2% dehydration worsened perceived sleep quality and next day reaction time. We already know the sleep quality affects reaction time. Sherry Ma showed that. Lots of other people showed that. This is basically saying that a little bit of dehydration can influence that as well too. Think about a baseball player on the Toronto Blue Jays or Los Angeles Dodgers. 162 games over an entire year. Tons of travel, stuck in the airplane. Think about how easy it would be for one of those individuals to be 1 to 2% dehydrated. What an interesting study to look at an athlete over the course of an entire season and estimate or measure their hydration every day, how many days do you think they miss the mark by 1 to 2%? What a tiny little margin of error. I was with the Cleveland Guardians and I was obsessed by these little devices they had in their urinals that when you peed on them, they lit up in different ways. And the way they lit up told you how hydrated you were. Now, am I there learning how to bunt, throw a splitter, working on my fielding? No, I am there to simply talk to their players about sleep. I'm sitting in a room with no windows, talking about sleep, answering questions, troubleshooting, etc. I've got no reason whatsoever to not be hydrated. I am not exerting myself, just hanging out in Goodyear, Arizona, talking to people. I swear to God, I for the first 2 days I was there, never got the green light peeing in the urinal. So then it became like I'm, I was hell bent on getting it. It's like gamifying something, right? So I stopped. They have this amazing coffee machine that makes lattes for you that are really tasty in their training center, and I abuse it. I abuse that device. But I stopped. I was like, I'm drinking way too much caffeine here. I can't get my hydration to a point where I get the green urinal light, and it's pissing me off. So I guess I'll forego the coffee and drink this water-based, green juice or whatever they got going on there, just a bottle of water because I really wanted to get the green light. And for the last 2 days, I got the green light. And honest to God, I felt better. Surprise, surprise. So I guarantee you, when I was getting yellow light and red light a couple times, I was not missing about 1 to 2%. I'm guessing 100%, 99, 98, 97, those are all probably green light hydration levels. So very important that we stress that, that hydration level. I'll give you one more study. I don't want this podcast to go too long. We're already at 32 minutes. Nakumura, 2023, this was Journal of Physiology Behavior, found that mild evening dehydration delayed core temperature decline, lengthening sleep latency. Wow. We're touching on a lot of things now. So remember, body temperature surges, peaks around 4, 6 o'clock, and then starts to come down. And that drop in body temperature. Why do we take the hot shower at night and cool off? Why do we drink the warm? All those things are designed to drop our temperature and get us ready to sleep, which is why we don't want to do crazy amounts of exercise at 9 o'clock at night because we're surging our body temperature, making it difficult to get it to come back down and get ready for sleep. This is a big problem with elite athletes. We're out here beating the hell out of the Seattle Mariners, getting our body temperature up, and we won. Woo! Again, I'm projecting win. We're going to win this game. It's not even a doubt for me anymore. The longer I do this podcast, the more confident I am they're going to win this game. So they win the game. We're going to play a game seven. So that game is over late at night. Temperatures are up. I mean, you're out there competing, getting hits, we're getting home runs, we're pitching our rear ends off. That raises body temperature. Cortisol's through the roof. We won. Fans are going nuts. Game seven, biggest game in Toronto in years. Like trying to get your body temperature down from that to go to sleep, tough. And we make it even tougher if we don't hydrate because that lack of hydration prevents that temperature from dropping. So, Blue Jays beat Seattle. Wonderful. How do we celebrate in the locker room? Drinking a ton of water, preferably cold. So, anyway, timing matters. Let's try to get our hydration in as much as we can throughout the day. Obviously, we don't want to do too much, crushing the bottled water at night. But if you need to, you need to. In terms of composition, people ask me, is just plain water okay, or should I be looking for something more in my water? Electrolyte balance. I mean, I think, water with a little bit of magnesium and sodium, electrolyte water is great. Both of those things are really important for proper physiology and electrolyte balance. Low sodium can actually paradoxically worsen sleep at night by increasing overnight stress hormone release. So, making sure you're getting the proper amount of sodium in your diet. It does not need to be in your water, obviously. Non-caffeinated fluids can promote relaxation and contribute to hydration. So warm teas at night, I think, are great. I was just talking to a player with a baseball organization today about the use of chamomile tea. I love that. Get some Z's tea. No caffeine, passion flower, chamomile, great way to wind down the day. And then making sure we are adjusting the humidification in our bedroom environments. We're going to talk a ton about that next week with our other Blue Air little humidifier, air purifier. They're great. And then, most importantly, limiting caffeine and alcohol because we don't want the diuretic effect to work against our ability to pull in some fluid. So sleep isn't just about shutting down, it's about balance. I mean, our body is what, 60% water? So even a small shift in that water balance can ripple through our sleep and our dreams. So unlike Ace Frehley, the best night drink is probably not cold gin, but it's actually cold water. But we are thinking about you, Ace. Ace designed the lightning bolt Kiss logo. Paul Stanley refined it, but that was Ace Frehley's contribution, the spaceman. So special thanks to Ace Frehley and Kiss for I would say, years and years of amazing music. But is it amazing music? It's amazing in its own way. Big thanks to Blue Air for sponsoring this podcast and making it possible. Really, really love the mini restful air humidifier. I'm going to wake up to lights and Blue Jays singing tomorrow in the morning and get ready for exciting game seven. Again, congratulations to the Dodgers. If you have comments, corrections, criticisms to the podcast, let me know. DR Chris Winter Instagram, DR Chris Winter Bluesky threads. Check out our YouTube page. And until next week, hydrate well and sleep well.